Hello there! How would you feel about body image as the subject of a recovery video? Okay, let's just roll with it. Watch the following video, like or subscribe, and peace. Hello there, my name is Billy Juliana. I'm 49 years old and I have a 40-year history of dealing with anorexia nervosa, and I'm currently following the recovery methods espoused by Tabitha Farrar, Kayla Rose Katecki, and Elisa Ores. And yes, today I do want to talk about body image and anorexia recovery, which isn't the most comfortable topic for me to discuss, but we'll get to that in a minute. I just want to preface this video by saying I realize we are all under a lot of stress right now. We are all going through a very uncertain time. And I've addressed this in many of my recent videos, and all other people who are doing recovery type videos are addressing the fact that we are all under a heightened amount of stress. But that doesn't mean that my recovery goes into the background. Recovery stays in the foreground. It stays my number one priority, even though I personally feel so much extra stress due to what's going on outside, because we're kind of directly affected in my household because I live with members of the society who are most susceptible to this problem that is going on out there. And so while my priorities in my household have changed and kind of gone topsy-turvy, my number one priority for me personally remains anorexia recovery. So I'm going to keep on talking about anorexia recovery topics. So let me jump back now to body image and go into something that I feel kind of wonky about, because this is something that I have not really ever addressed that closely, even with myself. So I'm just going to be yammering to the camera a little bit here on this. Now, I did manage to go outside a couple of days ago and film some footage, and I only had a brief amount of time because, you know, our parks these days are becoming refuges for people to get outside and kind of get some fresh air. But because of the social distancing aspect, it's kind of hard for me to take a camera out there and just kind of dominate, you know, some of the space. And so I had only a short amount of time to do this, but I wanted to film a clip to express my current body image right now. So I'm just going to roll that. All right, thanks. Okay, so if you came away from that clip both cringing and laughing, then boom, you've got it. That's basically how I feel about my body these days. That's my body image. It's part uncomfortable and it's part joyful. So let's just get into it a little bit. Again, this is not the best subject for me. I am no expert on what's going on with my body. I'm not a doctor or anything, and I haven't really consulted many people about the changes that are going on, but there are a lot of changes going on, and there have been a lot of changes that have gone on since the beginning of this year with my body, as I have tried to pull myself out of quasi-recovery and get all in there. And I know that on the other end of the camera, you can't see these changes because from my shoulders up, you're not seeing some of the changes that are going on in large part, you know, from my waist down, no pun intended. But there are, like, you know, major things going on in there, both internally and externally. And I'm just looking at it now with respect and neutrality. I don't think that I'll ever get to a point where I can just say, oh, I absolutely love my body, because I developed anorexia when I was age 9, and I've always had this sort of disconnect from my body, and I've always kind of shied away from, you know, positive body kind of talk. But I can look at my body as, okay, you know, it's doing me a service. It's propped me up through all of these years when I've tortured it. So that's been pretty nice. And now it's only respectful for me to do it a service in return and give it what it's asking for and let it do its thing so it can take me to the optimal health place that I want to be. And so even though I might feel some discomfort as that is going on, I need to just be neutral about it and be respectful. And I'll give you a little example from recently. When I was trying to film a YouTube video and I was standing in this room talking to the camera, I was completely sweating and I was hot. I was just feeling very, very uncomfortable. And so I was like, oh, I'm just going to take off my shoes because my shoes felt very, very tight. And I was swollen, I was experiencing some edema. So I just kicked off my shoes and then I started talking to the camera. And then I was like sweating again and I was feeling hot. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to take off my sweatpants and hang them up and I'm going to put on a skirt. And so I put on the skirt that you saw in that video, actually. Put that on. And then I started talking to the camera again. And then I started sweating again. And so then I was like, forget it, and so I just took off the skirt. And then I was just standing here in my underwear and my shirt. And I was trying to do the YouTube video. And then after about 5 minutes, I was like, forget this, So I just put the camera away. I was like, I'm not filming in my underwear today. I'm just not going to do it. And by the way, I am wearing sweatpants and underwear today. So don't worry about that. I'm wearing both, and shoes. But I put my camera away and I went and ate something because I felt tired and I felt hungry, and I also needed to diffuse any of the negativity that was coming up because in the moment I was feeling a little panicked. I was like, what's going on? Why am I so swollen? Well, I've got a lot of hormonal shifts going on in there, and so I just needed to chill for a moment. And I also needed to go eat and I needed to sit down and rest. And that's what I did. And actually the feeling passed. And this is how I've been rewiring neurally all of my negativity towards my body over the last few weeks, is just to diffuse some of these panic situations by eating, resting, and also by talking myself off the roof, just being like, come back down. Nothing bad is happening. You're undergoing some changes here, some positive changes, and you don't understand them, but you just need to let them happen. And another thing, I'm going to go back to what I said too about, being on the other end of the camera and not witnessing stuff. That is in part by design, because I don't want my channel to be sort of a chronicle of how my body has changed and what happens physically to someone when they recover from anorexia. In fact, that's almost impossible to do. I don't have pictures from the early days of my disease. From when I was young. I really don't have pictures like that anymore, and I don't think it's appropriate for me to be posting those because we're all going through our own journeys and we're all going through different changes as we go through anorexia recovery, and we come in all shapes and sizes. And so this shouldn't be about chronicling how my body has changed. Now, I've said many, many times over and over that I've gained a lot of weight as a result of doing this method of recovery. And I think that's worth saying because that's one of the results of eating unrestrictedly, but that's what my body needed. And so a lot of us struggle with the weight part, of course, and I've made many videos addressing this as well. A lot of us struggle with this, but it is necessary in order to get 100% liberated from this disease. And last year at this time, I've made videos about this too. Last year at this time, I reached a body weight or a body size that was probably a little less than where I am now, and I just flipped. I couldn't handle it. It was higher than I'd ever been in my whole life. So I was a bigger person than I'd ever been in my whole life, and I was so kind of surprised by it and taken aback by all the changes that had happened kind of rapidly. And I had also that coming with that was a full period. And I know I haven't talked about menstruation much on this channel. I'm not really comfortable talking about it. This whole topic is actually not the most comfortable for me, as you can tell. But so last year I started having a full period. So all of these things are good. These are actually good things, but I was having real trouble handling it like all at once. And so it's taken a while for me to rewire all of this and get comfortable with being a whole new me. And now I'm doing it again. Like I was in quasi recovery, but I was still having great mental and physical hunger, even though I'd gained all that weight. And I know I'm mentioning it again. but it is part of the recovery process. So here I am, and I have been trying to satisfy mentally and physically all the hunger that I have. And so I'm facing more body changes going on, and it's been strange. And in the last few weeks, there have been more hormonal shifts going on, and like more things like me sweating on camera and stuff like that. And I've just had to be really mindful of it and chill and adopt a neutral and respectful stance towards what my body's doing. And yes, there have been days when I've gotten on the phone with my therapist and I've been like, look, I've tried on some shorts. The weather's gotten a little bit warmer lately, and I tried on some shorts and they didn't fit. And I'm trying to tell myself it's okay, you know, but I still feel uncomfortable. And she's like, you know, it helps, again, talk me off the roof off that. And it is true, you know, some of the things that I was wearing last year, I can't wear right now, you know, so it's part of all of the changes, but I still have to be neutral and respectful about all of these changes. And if I'm still hungry, like I was after I filmed that video where I was super hot, I was really super hungry, even though I was feeling like I was expanding in the moment, just expanding right there. I needed to go eat something. And like I said, the feeling will pass. So again, the basic message with body image is neutrality and respect. That's what I need to maintain. And that's basically what I've been able to achieve in the last few weeks. And I'm kind of happy about that. Yes, there is some discomfort. When the discomfort arises, I can go down the negative rabbit hole with that. I can just go straight down into, oh my gosh, this is a terrible crisis that I'm in. You know, I've got problems going on with my weight. Oh no. Or I can feel the discomfort and be like, okay, I feel you, but I'm going to be neutral about this. And if I'm hungry, if it's a mental hunger thing, like, you know, my weight is coming to mind because I'm actually hungry in a way, then I'm going to go eat. Because sometimes it's strange. Sometimes our fears about body weight and stuff are just a form of mental hunger. It's a very strange little thing, but like it's like the eating disorder is just there to stop the mental hunger by throwing out. I feel huge feeling. So I need to be really aware of that too. And so all of this stuff I'm trying to rewire, and it actually is working. It's actually rewiring. But again, it is a very tough process and it takes some time. So like I said, basic message, neutrality and respect towards one's body as we go through the changes. And they are major changes for some of us, major changes. But that's okay. That's just where we need to go for optimal health. So with that, I'm going to go eat unrestrictedly, rest for a prolonged period, take care of myself, and I hope that you do the same for yourselves. Please stay safe, and until next time, peace.